welcome back to the channel. If you've been following along for a while, you know that I'm in healthcare. I've been in healthcare for over 20 years. I am a nurse anesthetist, and recently, earlier this year, trauma services were transferred from a hospital in town to the hospital that I work at, and with that we have seen an onslaught of traumatic injuries. Not all come to the operating room, but some do. And in that category of traumatic injuries are gunshot wounds. And not all gunshot wounds are from somebody else. They are self-inflicted accidental discharges. Some are on purpose, which is very sad, but some are truly accidents. And I've seen two gunshot wounds that are self-inflicted accidental discharges, and both related to appendix carry. I carry appendix, and I draw appendix. I compete in the Patriot games with concealed carry in the appendix position. Granted, that is unloaded, but I carry in the appendix position. But I also practice with an appendix carry. But we'll get to that in a second. Both patients lived. One required surgery, one did not. The first one had no involvement with a holster whatsoever. They either had it in their pocket or they were tucking it into their waistband. I can't remember which one, but it was a self-inflicted gunshot wound. The second patient was reholstering, and there was an accidental discharge and it went into their thigh. It begs the question, what was that person doing? And it's not my job to know what they were doing. It's just my job to save their life. But it got my wheels turning. Talking amongst coworkers in the room and whatnot. I compete in the Patriot games. We're breathing heavy, we're trying to race, we're trying to go fast. Even when you're training, you're trying to push the envelope, you're trying to draw as fast as you can, get that first shot off as fast as you can, and then you reholster. And there are a couple of tips to get through the day safely, one of which comes down to the holster. You have to have a good holster. So I have two examples here, and bear with me on the first one. This is a Colt King Cobra. It's a revolver, and it is clearly unloaded. But this is, for very poor purposes, a holster. And I don't have a leather holster, but when you have a revolver, a lot of people have leather holsters. They have grandpa's old leather holster that's really worn in, beautiful patina, it looks great, it's got sentimental value and whatnot, but it's the wrong tool for the job, because what happens is when you put that firearm into a bad holster, your trigger might be exposed, or you can get to the trigger by, this is a flimsy material, it's a very nice material, but it's flimsy, and you can still get to that trigger. And that is the last thing that you want. So, rule number one with being safe is using safe equipment. And when you use an old, worn out holster that's beautiful, it's just not safe. So you don't want to use those anymore. This is my concealed carry. It is a Sig Sauer P320 X Compact RXP. I've said that numerous times on the channel. It's in a tier 1 holster. It's made of Kydex. It's a very hard material. It's inflexible, but I just want to show that this gun is unloaded as well. It is safe. There's no round in the chamber. This is a very hard material. The trigger is right here, but I cannot press it. Even when it's out, it's not easily depressed. So there's no way that if the gun is in the holster properly, completely covered, that I can get to that trigger. And that is another very, very important fact. So when you have your trigger exposed, your finger goes down there, and even though you try not to grab the trigger, your finger is straight out until you're ready to shoot. Things happen, clearly evidenced by the two cases that I saw. Another thing, what did I do with that, is when you're reholstering with a flimsy material, there's always the chance that that material can get into the trigger well, and now this isn't going to do it because it's just not strong enough, but if you're forcing something in there, it can go off, and if you have a loaded gun, it can go off. So as much as we want to go faster, push the envelope, shave 1/10 of a second off of your draw time and whatnot, sometimes you just have to go back to the basics and dry fire and do things so that you have a safe manipulation of a weapon. When I compete in the Patriot games, I use this in the concealed carry portion. Granted, we are unloaded coming to the firing line and we are unloaded before we holster and going out, but we have safe manipulation. One of the best ways to safely manipulate your firearm back into the holster is when you are done, you are visually seeing it go back into the holster. You're not looking somewhere else because you are not going to get a clean reholster. You want to see it go into the holster and then look up. It takes a second to look down and up. So safe manipulation is what you want, and you do not want to use flimsy holster. So it was kind of just like a PSA video tonight. I really didn't want to I had something else planned, but I felt that this is important now that I've seen multiple injuries of this magnitude. Yeah, so safe firearm manipulation. If you are scared, if you're nervous, if you're a new gun owner, get a good holster and practice drawing unloaded, dry fire, dry drawing. Do that and get comfortable with it. Keep your finger off the trigger until you're ready to pull it. That's going to do it for this one. Like and subscribe, leave a comment in the comment section below, and we will see you in the next video.